Okay, so today we're going to look at 6 insane chess puzzles. They're either the first few, 5 of them have mates for either white or black, and the last one is and the one of them is stalemate. So this is the position. The first one, it is white to play and win. I don't care how many moves it takes. It actually only takes 3 moves, but it's actually a mate. So pause the video and think, what can you do about this position? So when you receive this position, the first thing you have to think about is that there is huge control among these lines, and the king can only escape to a2. And actually you have to think about giving some checks. So actually you can't do something like queen to g6. That would be a blunder, because now you get mate in 4 for mate in 6 for your opponent actually. So it's because it's q to e1 and you can only go to f2. There's really no other legal move you can play. So q to e2, now is this move, rook takes b2, and you are forced to take. Then it's queen to c1, or actually Stockfish says queen to c1 is not good. So let's see. Okay, so queen to c3, and is forced to go to ka2 or kb1, and now it is queen to b3 check, and he can't take now because of this pawn. King to a1, then it's either it can be rook c1 and queen b1 and queen takes b1 checkmate. So you can play something like queen g6. You're like, I can mate in 1, but your opponent says I can mate in 6. So queen g1 is definitely a blunder, and you shouldn't play this. So, well, so what can you play in this position then, if not play qg6? So let's delete this variation actually. So what can you play instead of qg6? Okay, so the best move would be throwing some checks, and it's not from the queen. You can't go crazy like queen to h7, queen takes, rook takes, king takes, and you'll be 2 rooks versus a knight, which is not good. And also you can't play something stupid, and you can only move checks or your queen will be taken. Oh, sorry. So the only good move is the brilliant move rook to g8. And why it is brilliant? It's sacrificing a rook for nothing. And why you're like, I'm sacrificing a rook, what does that have? It's kind of like opening up the position, and actually before this there was no attacks, but after king takes, and it's actually forced, and you can go rook queen to g6 check, and that's throwing in more checks, and it's a forced position because the queen can't interfere with this. He's not a knight, so the queen can interfere, and at this point you're playing forced moves. The king must go to h8, and mate in 1 is queen to g7, and it's a brilliant checkmate. Your opponent's 5 points up, but I don't care, it's checkmate. Let's move on to the second position, and this position is easier. This position is really easy. Do not get greedy. Double bishop and rook mate. So look at these subtitles very carefully. Black is 9 points ahead, which is a queen ahead, but now you have mate, and it's mate in 3, not something else. So you definitely have to look for checks. If you had had time to think about it, the move is definitely bishop to d6 check. When somebody could ask me, why didn't I take on this c8 and this king has to move, then I'm getting another rook. I'm really smart. I got 10 points back and I'm 1 point now ahead. But actually, according to Stockfish and according to common sense, it is actually quite a drawn position. So it's queen against 2 rooks, and it's a knight and bishop versus 2 bishops, and the pawns are like, you have 1 more pawn, but it doesn't make any difference, and here is throwing some checks, which is not too good for you. But bishop to d6 offers a mate in 2, and of course, as I said before, it is a forced move, so the king must go to g8, and now finally you take. So there's no other move now. You have to take on c8, bishop goes back, and it's checkmate. So, well, that's the easiest position we have ever seen in these. So that's bishop to d6, king to g8, rook to c8, and checkmate. So, well, that's one of the easiest positions, and now these positions are only going to get tougher. This position is one of the toughest positions. It is the queen sack, double check, bishop, and knight mate. So pause the video and think whether you can solve this. This also begins with a brilliant move, queen takes g7, and it is totally brilliant. It is one of the most brilliant moves in this in these positions. So, like, I'm sacrificing my queen now, and it's also a forced move, so king must take. And now you go for the double check, knight to f5, and it's a double check, and it is a forcing move, so the king can't go anywhere here. Notice why you didn't play knight to e6 check. It is also a double check. However, if you play knight to e6, this king could now escape to h6. And when you ask why you can just fork them, because you are 7 points behind, and forking won't do you any good. So you must go to knight to f5, and it's controlling the h6 square, and it's a forced move. King to g8, and there is a mate in 1 for white. The move is knight takes e7, and it is checkmate. When you've wondered why can't you play knight to h6, because if you play knight to h6, you get taken by this knight. So, well, it's checkmate. No, it isn't, and you lose the position. So you can only move knight to e7, and that should be checkmate. So, wow, what a beautiful move. It's bishop and knight checkmate, and black is like, I'm 6 points ahead, that's not fair. Well, we don't care whether it's fair, it's checkmate. Let's go to another one called Laughing in the Face of Mate in 1 and Mate in 2. Well, that's a great title, and I enjoy this title. And you can see there is mate in 1 for white, and there's also mate in 1. So, well, that's really not a good position. There's only one move to draw this position. Well, the move is rook to a1 check, and you're throwing in checks because, as you can see, none of your pieces can move. They're all pushed back on these pawns, and of course the cornered bishop shouldn't even be there. It's not possible, but this is just a fun position. So you have to get rid of this rook. So no matter what he does, you probably should play king to h2. Then you continually check him, and you check, and until you take him, this game is stalemate because you can't move any of your pieces now. Wow, that is impressive. White is up so many pawns, and these 2 pawns are going to promote, but no, it's stalemate. The next position is the hardest position in all these. It is called getting control of the king and rook and bishop mate. There's nothing fun about this, and it's very hard. Pause the video to think about it. Actually, the move is rook to e3, and if you open the stockfish, and that's the best move possible. And what is it doing? It is it's actually one exclamation mark. So what is it doing? It is kind of controlling the king's space. So you're just controlling how the king can move. So in this position, the king can only go to g4, and it is all these other places are all controlled. The top 3 by the king, this by the rook, this by the bishop, this by the pawn, this by the this is free, and this is controlled by the pawn. So it can only probably go to here, and if it goes here, it is bishop to e6 checkmate. And what a beautiful smothered mate. And if it doesn't go to g4, if we are ignoring this, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting another queen, ha ha ha, and it's still bishop to e6 checkmate. It is bishop to e6 checkmate, sorry. And it's beautiful, smothered checkmate. There's nothing that he can do. He has a queen, but now it's mate. And what if he completely ignores it and plays something like h4? And it's still bishop to e6 checkmate. So whatever you do, it is bishop to e6 checkmate, and it's really controlling these squares, and there's nothing else that black can do. Well, that was a really fun position, but we still have one more to go. This position is really, really bizarre. It's bizarre because these are 2 pawns promoting forward. This is a 3rd pawn. There's kind of like mate in 3. So if black just plays something a3, it's just take this. It's forced to take. Then it's mate in. It's you promote to a queen. Wait a second. To a queen, and you can't do anything with the king. Yeah, you can take. You promote this pawn, so it's checkmate. So why do I always promote to knights? Okay, it's checkmate. So you can't play something stupid like a3. So think about this position. So what can you play? Of course you didn't say taking the queen, because if you took the queen, it's still checkmate, no matter what you promote to it. And, well, it's not very good. And you might say taking the knight, but it's still checkmate after queen takes, bishop takes, and promoting the pawn. So there's really no progress in this. And if you thought about putting your bishop back, then it's just going to be taken by the knight, and there's really nothing to stop these promotions. Your king can move. And it's just, you're totally losing. However, there is a brilliant move for black now and win the game. So can you think about it? Okay, so after you pause the video, the brilliant move is queen takes g3, and it's totally brilliant because you are opening up the lines, sacrificing a queen, and it is also a forced move. This king can't move anywhere, and it's only pawn takes. And after pawn takes, and it is a mate in 1. So what can you see? Of course, rook takes h1 checkmate. And why is it called a rook and double bishop mate? Because this bishop is controlling the f2 square. This rook is controlled by this bishop, and g2 is controlled by the bishop, h2 is controlled by the rook, and it is in check, so it's checkmate. And it is so brilliant. White doesn't even have a chance to promote his pawns, and they will have a checkmate, and you've completely turned the game around. So these are all these insane and brilliant positions. Thank you for listening.